I hope they're still here. If Eric Johnson of John Deere would come up, Mark Morrison from Smith & Nephew, and Jarod Rauch from B&J Specialty. Speakers you've heard from today. And in addition, I'd like to ask up one speaker you haven't heard from yet, because he's speaking tomorrow, Adam Clark from Tangible Solutions. Tangible is a Dayton-based, ISO-certified contract manufacturer in the medical industry. Greg, if you would kick things off, is there a question that you would put before this group of users for them to elaborate on?
Sure. So first off, I've enjoyed the 3 of your presentations today, and Adam, I'm going to enjoy the presentation tomorrow, so everybody will. So look, I think you guys come from a little bit different areas. Obviously, we have John Deere, we have Smith & Nephew, BJ Specialty, and Tangible, and you guys have a different background. So I made a bold statement from a GE lens, and GE is, again, a different company than the 4 of you guys. I'd just like to know each of your thoughts. You know, is Greg out there drinking some kind of Kool-Aid that you haven't had yet, or am I hitting the target, do you think? I mean, what in your world, how do you view it in your world? Do you see it being as significant as what I was just kind of saying, or do you think that I'm overblowing it, or do you think I'm underestimating it?
I definitely agree with all of those statements. I view additive in the molding environment as just another tool for your arsenal of how you can manufacture. You know, we have all discussed, you know, finding the niche, finding that perfect place for it. But if you have an open mind from a designer standpoint, you're much easier going to be able to apply it to your line of work, whether that's in the molding, medical, aerospace. You know, additive can be used for about anything if you apply it correctly, and I think that's why a lot of us are so excited for, you know, where additive can go in the next 5 to 10 years. But yeah, I mean, it's not going to be a replacement of, you know, how we typically manufacture things. It's just going to aid us to make that next step.
Well.
So the question, if you didn't hear it, the life of an injection molding tool that is made additively relative to what you're accustomed to?
Right now, the main focus when you do talk about wanting to apply conformal cooling into your designs is within the infrastructure of that conformal line itself. Geometrically, if you have knife edges, you know, you start to create stress risers internally that could down the road potentially be an issue. So, you know, just like you would think of externally, you know, not having those 90-degree corners that could potentially be a breakage point, you kind of have to think that same way internally. We see a lot of that, you know, leading to success for longevity of a part. It's just, you know, the thinking internally with the importance of geometrically what your structure has to look like.
So if you do things the right way, what kind of life expectancy have you seen
from what we have been doing so far? We're seeing 1-in-1 life, you know, the life of it. So, thank you.
So kind of going back to the previous question, I have seen Europe on the tooling front seem to be pretty active and leveraging the technology and tooling, probably more so historically than the U.S., which is interesting. But it actually kind of leads me to Jarod. I didn't get a chance to ask in your presentation, but who drives the decision to go to an additive tool? Because my understanding has always been that the OEM, like a GE, but not a GE in this case, would basically say, you got to guarantee me 10 million shots off that tool. And the incentive for you to go and put conformal cooling into that to save them cycle time is pretty low. And I think that's been a disincentive, actually, for the technology to make its way into the mold building industry. Do you see that, or do you see it as being a different path?
If I heard you correctly, as far as, you know, ultimately who makes that decision to use additive, I'm going to say at this point it's a 50-50. It's a group commitment. A lot of times right now, presently, within the molding environment, in the molding world, they're eager to listen to what additive is, but they're very hesitant to make that decision, to want to go that road, to take that path. So that's the reason why, utilizing your engineering skills and utilizing your software from an analytical standpoint to be able to show these case study results and testing, is key. Because it's all about, at the end of the day, it's all about making money. The customers want to see that bottom number. They want to see that they're, increasing productivity and making things faster, going to be able to make more parts and make more money. And, with additive applied correctly, that is definitely something that can happen.
Back here.
All right.
Yeah, I have a question, I guess, for any of the panelists. What percentage of your business today is utilizing additive manufacturing to make parts, and what is the impact percentage-wise on the bottom line today? And what do you expect it to be in 5 years, and what do you expect it to be in 15 years?
So I hope I did.
Jarod, your thoughts on percentage impact of additive and what you expect it to be in the years down the road?
Right now, presently within our company, additive is actually a very low number, but we view additive as the next step that we want to take if we want to continue to be competitive with our field of work, because we see the potential for where it can go. If I had to put a percentage on it, I would say at this point it's probably 1 or 2% at the most. Because our background comes from high-speed machining, 3, 4, 5-axis machining, conventional manufacturing across the board. But with the use of additive, this allows us now to offer our customers something new, something better that can, in return, make things better for them. So, it's in the next 5 to 10 years with our company, I see that, tripling or even more as far as, how much of that work is going to be strictly additive within B&J.
Mark.